Hi everyone, it's your boy, Hextasy here, and today we'll be playing through a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Ruby, but I can only use Pokémon I want to eat. Most Pokémon are probably edible, but that doesn't mean I want to eat all of them. We are looking specifically for the ones I would order at a restaurant or see at the pet store and think that would taste great with barbecue sauce. And right off the bat, we can get one of those Pokemon. 10-piece the Torchic. While 10-piece can solo our rival without too much trouble, the first gym leader will be a different story. Roxanne is a rock-type trainer, and will be at a huge disadvantage. So we take a look through what can pop up in the early routes, and there is exactly one Pokemon I would give a try. And we can even get them before we reach the next town. I love nuts in my chocolate, so on Route 102, we grab a C-Dot named Chocolate. We arrive at Petalburg City, where we have to help some random kid catch his first Pokemon, and he catches a Ralts. Honestly, not what I'd eat, it feels a little too close to cannibalism for me, which is why we won't be evolving Chocolate, but you do you, Wally. Heading into the forest next, we find a Devoncorp employee asking if we found any Shroomish. But I hate mushrooms, so when a generic grunt from this game's evil team shows up to mug him, we just turn a blind eye and let it happen. On the other side of the Petalburg Woods, we get the Bullet Seed TM, which will be instrumental in our battle with Roxanne. She starts with the Geodude, and we bring out Chocolate, and we move first, and a single Bullet Seed takes them down, and her nose passes up next. But we can just keep spamming out Bullet Seeds, and they eventually go down to win us the fight. Walking out of the gym, we see the same Devoncorp employee getting mugged a second time, so naturally, we ignore them and walk the other way. In a nearby cave, we fight a completely unrelated Team Magma Grunt, evolving 10-piece into a Combusken afterwards, and prompting a 100% different Devoncorp employee to invite us to meet the president, who tells us to deliver a letter to his son because he has no idea what texting is. We hop on a boat to Dewford Town, where we can grab an old rod and fish up a Magikarp. Truth be told, I'm not the biggest fan of fish, but I give it a try every once in a while, so we'll be limiting the number of fish we can catch to just 2, with Fillet the Magikarp being the first one. Fillet will only be serving as fodder to give a different Pokemon a safe switch in, since I really don't see myself eating a Gyarados. We head into the nearby cave, where our first encounter is a Zubat, and having lived through 2020, I have no intention of eating bats, nor do I particularly want to eat anything else found in this cave. But what we can find here is Steven, who we give the letter to, and then take on the gym leader here on the island. Brawly starts with his Machop, while we bring in 10-piece, whose double kick takes out half of Machop's HP. Their Karate Chop takes out about a third of ours, and one more double kick takes them down. His ace Makuhita is up next, and our double kick takes out well over half their HP. So after surviving an arm thrust, we can win the fight with one more double kick. We sail back to the mainland, where we take on Team Magma at the museum, no longer able to turn a blind eye to their evil deeds. After beating them, we have our second rival battle, and Brendan starts with a Shroomish, while we start with 10-piece. Our Ember just misses the KO, and we get paralyzed by a Stun Spore, but since we were holding a Cherry Berry, we are instantly cured, and one more Ember takes them down. Marshtomp comes out next, so we switch to Chocolate as they lock themselves into Bide. We bump our special attack up with the Growth while they're still charging, and since we dealt no damage, Bide does no damage once it finishes charging. They survive the first Bullet Seed and hit us with a weak Water Gun before another Bullet Seed beats them. All that's left is his Numel, and we swap back to 10-piece on an Ember, hardly taking any damage, and then finishing the fight with a couple double kicks. Arriving at Mauville City next, we get a coin case, allowing us to go gambling and rack up enough coins for some strong TMs. We also have our first battle with Wally here, but we beat him without taking any damage, and just west of the city is our next encounter. Route 117 is where we find a Roselia. Not only would they go great on a salad, but I had rose-flavored macarons recently, and they were pretty darn good. So we catch Roselia and name them Macaron. Following up, this is our battle with the third gym leader, Watson. We start with 10 Piece to take on his Magnemite, and we can outspeed them and take them down with a single flamethrower. Voltorb is in next, and they outspeed us to land a Spark for about a fourth of our HP, and our flamethrower leaves them with little HP. We switch to Macaron as they heal, and then they hit us with a Spark that leaves us paralyzed. We had the Cherry Berry to instantly cure us, and we return the favor by paralyzing them with a Stun Spore. We start sapping away their HP with Mega Drains, forcing Watson to heal once again, and just when it looks like we're about to take them down, they use Self-Destruct. Macaron is left with just 4 HP when Magneton comes in, and we'll have to swap them out. We bring out Filet to do the one thing they were born to do, die. This gives us the chance to send out 10 Piece, and after surviving a Shockwave, they can take out Magneton with a Flamethrower to win the fight. Heading north, we find our next encounter. Our final fish, Styx the Goldeen on Route 111. Unfortunately, the next few routes have nothing I particularly want to eat. The Nummels on Route 112 could be tasty, but I don't think I'd go out of my way to eat it, so we'll be passing them over. We eventually arrive at the Meteor Falls, where we come across Team Magma again, this time beefing with some pirate cosplayers. They run away before we can battle them, and we have to chase them up to Mount Chimney. There we have our first battle with their leader, Maxie. This is one battle where we may have a reset, but let's see how it goes. Maxie starts with his Mightyena while we bring in Macaron. They outspeed us and lower our accuracy with a Sand Attack, causing our Leech Seed to miss. But our second one lands despite a second Sand Attack. They hit us with a Bite, that activates our Poison Point ability, and we can ignore the accuracy drops by using Magical Leaf, a move that always hits. We quickly bring Mightyena into the red, and Maxie heals them before our Mega Drain brings them below half HP and fully heals Macaron. We take one more bite, and our Magical Leaf takes them down, and Camerupt comes in. We swap to 10 Piece on an Ember before taking out half their HP with a double kick. We then get hit by a Magnitude that leaves 10 Piece on just 2 HP before their Oran Berry heals them up a bit. We swap to Macaron on a Tackle that not only activates Poison Point, but also brings Macaron below half HP, activating their Oran Berry to heal them. We then use a Mega Drain to bring Camerupt into the red and heal us enough to survive an Ember. Camerupt barely survives poison damage, and Maxie heals them on the next turn, allowing us to land another Mega Drain. We switch to Styx on the next turn, expecting to tank an Ember, but lucky enough for us, Maxie switches to Golbat. This is the actual best case scenario for us. After handling a wing attack, we land an Ice Beam that freezes Golbat. They can't move on the next turn, and one more Ice Beam takes them down, and Camerupt comes in, only to also get destroyed by an Ice Beam to win us the fight. Winning here gives us access to the Jagged Pass, and just before we enter, I check our bag and find we only had one Pokeball, which could have been absolutely disastrous if it failed. Luckily for us, like a Waffle House employee, the people working the cable cars back to the base of the volcano refused to leave their post, even with eco-terrorists about to forcibly erupt the volcano next to their faces. So we can get more balls, which is especially important since our next encounter will be a Spoink, which could be the perfect counter for the next gym leader. If it's female, then it'll be immune to her Torkoal's Attract, and it can have the Thick Fat ability, reducing the damage from their overheat. Unfortunately, the first Spoink we find is a male, so we catch them and name them Chris P. Hopefully they'll at least have the Thick Fat ability. Nope, they have Own Tempo. and on top of that, their nature lowers their special attack. Just about the most unoptimized Spoink we could have hoped for. But Spoink was always going to be a plan B, so hopefully we won't need them. For our battle with the 4th gym leader, Flannery, we start with 10 piece against her Slugma. We use a bulk up to boost our attack and defense, and they hit us with the Smog, leaving 10 piece poisoned. Luckily, I am a genius and foresaw this possibility and gave 10 piece a P.E.K.K.A. berry to instantly cure the poison. We take out this Slugma with a double kick, and Slugma number 2 comes in next. This one can't poison us, so we're safe to set up a couple more bulk ups while they use the Light Screen and Sunny Day, then take them down with a double kick. All Flannery has left is Torkoal. Our double kick brings them low, one more bulk up might have guaranteed the KO, and they land a body slam. Luckily, we don't get paralyzed, and despite her healing, we can finish them off with a couple more double kicks before they can move again to win the fight. Beating Flannery gets us the Go Goggles, allowing us to enter the desert for our next encounter. Where I live, we put cactus fruits in chocolates, so when we find a Cacnea, we catch them and give them the name Chocolate2. Next, we'll be heading to Petalburg City to face Norman and his Slacking with the same base stat totals of some legendary Pokemon, like Groudon, with the trade-off being they can only attack every other turn. So we grind for as many defense and HP EVs as possible before our fight with the 5th gym leader starts. We start with Macron to take on his first Slacking. We get hit by a Yawn, but that's okay, and we land a Leech Seed, and before they fall asleep, we paralyze them with a Stun Spore. We swap to 10 piece, and Slacking can't move, so we begin setting up bulk ups, boosting our attack and defense. Slacking does put 10 piece to sleep at one point, but they can't move for the entire duration that we're asleep, and even if they could attack, they're still losing HP to Leech Seed, which would just heal 10 piece back up. We take them down with a double kick, and Vigoroth comes in. Their Facade doesn't do a lot of damage, and a single double kick takes care of them. All that's left is Slacking number 2, and they outspeed 10 piece to land a Facade, scoring a critical hit which bypasses our defense boosts and kills them. We could be in trouble here. We bring out Chocolate2 and land a Leech Seed while Slacking can't move, and we then use Feint Attack on the turns they can move to disrupt any potential focus punches, and on the turn they can't, we use Sand Attack to drop their accuracy in case they try going for Facade. By doing this, Slacking is unable to damage Chocolate2, and we take them down to earn the 5th gym badge. Winning lets us grab the Surf HM, which will let us grab our next couple meals. While we run over there, take your guesses as to who they'll be. We're passing New Mauville, so maybe it's a Magnemite. Well, I'm not a child, so eating magnets doesn't seem too appealing to me. We're heading east of Mauville now, so maybe it's a Tropius. Well, I don't like bananas, so it couldn't be them. Instead, we're grabbing the Good Rod and then trekking all the way back to Petalburg City to fish up a Corphish, who is a crustacean and not a fish, and we name them Lobster. We head down to Route 109 to fish up a Whalmer, also bypassing the 2 fish rule since whales are mammals, and I wouldn't mind giving one a try given the chance. We look up what whale meat is called so we know what to name them, and according to Google, whale meat is called whale meat. I don't know why I thought it'd be called something else, but whale meat doesn't feel like a good name, so we'll roll with blubber. Heading towards the next town, we evolve Crispy into a Grumpig, Chocolate2 into a Cacturn, and Lobster into a Crawdaunt before a quick detour at the Weather Institute where we need to smack some sense into Team Magma again. Right after is another rival battle, but his team hasn't changed since we fought them just before the 3rd gym leader, so this is a bit of a one-sided beatdown. We then evolve Styx into a Sea King, and it's now time to take on the 6th gym leader, Winona. She starts with a Swellow that likes to spam out double teams, while we start with Chris P. They get out their first double team, and we hit them with a Psychic to bring them well below half HP. They then hit us with an Endeavor, dropping our HP until it's equal to theirs, and we finish them with a Shockwave. And Pelipper comes out next, and our Citrus Berry heals us up a fair amount before we destroy Pelipper with a Shockwave too. Skarmory comes in, and our Shockwave takes out less than half of their HP before they land a Steel Wing that also raises their defense. We use Confuse Ray before Skarmory lands a Sand Attack, which really has no effect since Shockwave ignores accuracy, and Skarmory hits themselves in confusion, but it's just barely not enough to KO. We land a Shockwave while they heal, and then swap out to Lobster as they hit themselves again. They're faster than Lobster, and land an Aerial Ace before going down to a Surf, and all that's left is Altaria. They're faster than Lobster, and land a Dragon Breath that leaves them paralyzed. Lobster can't move, gets hit by a second Dragon Breath, and still can't move, so we'll have to switch them out. We bring in Macron on a Dragon Breath that also leaves them paralyzed. Then they get hit by an Aerial Ace that kills them, but also activates their Poison Point ability. We bring out Styx, and after Altaria uses Dragon Dance to boost their attack and speed, we land an Ice Beam for the KO to win us the fight. Right after this, we head to Lily Cove City for our final battle with Brendan. He starts with a new Swellow, while we start with Lobster. We get hit by a Wing Attack before landing a Rock Tomb to cut most of their HP. They then use Endeavor before going down to a Surf, and Shroomish is in. So we swap to Chocolate 2, who can take them out with a Feint Attack after softening them up with a couple Pin Missiles. Nunnel is brought out next, so we swap to Blubber, who destroys them with a Surf, and all that's left is Marshtomp. And since it looks like they could kill Blubber with a critical hit, we switch to Styx as Marshtomp uses Takedown, and thanks to the recoil damage, they only succeed in taking themselves down. We then head to Mount Pyre to confront Maxie, but he runs away. We chase him to Slateport City and watch him run away again, so we follow him to his base in Lily Cove City, where we can pick up a Master Ball and watch him run away for a third time. But at least watching him skedaddle so many times lets us have access to the ocean, where we can find a Spheal in the Shoal Cave. Once again, it's a mammal and not a fish, so eating little Meatball here is fair game, and they'll be our final snack for the run. After evolving Meatball and Blubber, we'll get to take on the 7th gym leaders in a double battle, Tate and Liza. They have their Solrock and Lunatone, while we bring out Lobster and Meatball. If Solrock uses Sunny Day and starts firing off instant solar beams, it could be disastrous. Meatball is certainly slower, so they'll be setting up Hail. Solrock instead uses Psychic for decent damage against Meatball, and Lunatone boosts their special stats with the Calm Mind. Meatball uses Hail, and Lobster uses Surf for big damage against Solrock and mid damage against Lunatone. We swap out Meatball for Chris P while they heal Solrock, and Lunatone puts Lobster to sleep with the Hypnosis. Chris P hits Solrock with a Confuse Ray before Lunatone puts them to sleep, and Solrock hits themselves in confusion. Lobster wakes up to land a Surf, bringing both their Pokemon into the red, and the hail damage at the end of the turn takes out Lunatone, but Solrock survives. They heal Solrock again, but another Surf takes them down to win us the fight. We break into Steven's house to get the Dive HM, allowing us to go into the seafloor caverns for our final confrontation with Team Magma. Maxie no longer has anywhere to run and has to battle us, starting with his Mightyena against our Chocolate 2. We hit them hard with a Needle Arm before they cut our speed with a Scary Face. They heal, and it lets them survive another Needle Arm before swapping out to Crobat, who takes little damage. We switch to Meatball, but they're hit by a Confuse Ray. we gave them a Persian Berry, which instantly cures it, but Crobat just confuses them again before we can even move. Luckily, Meatball powers through confusion to land an Ice Beam for the KO, and Camerupt comes in. Meatball hits themselves in confusion, allowing Camerupt to land a Rock Slide for big damage, and to be safe, we swap out to Lobster, who handles Rock Slide well, and takes them out with the Surf. A weakened Mightyena comes back in, and since Maxie is a broke-ass bitch, he has to use a Super Potion to heal, but it doesn't restore enough HP to save Mightyena from being destroyed by a Surf to win us the fight. Despite us winning, Maxie still awakens Groudon, who flies through the ceiling, and we have to head to the Cave of Origin to take them on. We bring out Chocolate and try to run, but we can't escape. Luckily, Groudon just uses Bulk Up. Our second attempt to run also fails, and Groudon uses Fire Blast. And it misses. Third time's the charm, and we bravely run away, which counts as Groudon being defeated. And we saved the world, just like that. Before the next gym, we need to do a tiny bit of prep work. Back in the Fiery Path, we can get a TM for Toxic. And at Lily Cove City, we can delete Dive from Blubber's move pool since we won't need it anymore. With a little more preparations, we can take on the final gym leader, Wallace. Starting with Chocolatue against his Love Disc. It outspeeds us and lands a Water Pulse, not doing much damage, and a Needle Arm takes them down. Celio is up next, so we switch to Lobster on a critical hit Aurora Beam that takes out about a third of their HP. A couple Rock Tombs takes them down, and Whiscash is brought out. We swap back to Chocolatue as Whiscash doubles their special defense with Amnesia. This allows them to survive a Needle Arm before using another Amnesia. They heal to full, but still goes down to a couple more Needle Arms before they can move again. Milotic comes in, and we switch to Blubber on an Ice Beam, dealing little damage, but also freezing them. We go to start using Toxic on whatever turn we thaw, and it turns out we forgot to teach them Toxic. That's great. It takes 5 turns for Blubber to thaw, and use Rest to heal themselves, and their Chesto Berry immediately wakes them up. We lock ourselves into using Rollout, a move that doubles in power after every turn, but we can't get a good rollout going because we get frozen by another Ice Beam. We aren't thawing, but Milotic has started using other moves, meaning they no longer have Ice Beam PP, so we can safely bring out Chocolatue. They outspeed us and land a Twister, that makes us flinch, and they bring Chocolatue down to just 17 HP before they can take them down with a Needle Arm. All he has left is Seaking, and we switch to Meatball as they set up a Rain Dance. They land a Water Pulse for little damage, but it does confuse Meatball. Luckily, they power through the confusions, and a few turns later, we can take them down with a Surf to win the fight. After the battle, we can evolve Meatball into a Walrein, and then head through Victory Road to take on the Elite Four. But before getting out of the cave, we'll have to fight Wally. His Altaria, Roselia, Magneton, and Delcatty are all outsped and beaten in a single attack from Meatball. But then Gardevoir comes in. We swap to Chocolatue, a Dark type, which guarantees that their next move won't be a damaging one, and we then bust out our nut and use Explosion to take themselves out along with Gardevoir to win the fight and allow us to battle the Elite Four. For our team, we are bringing in Lobster the Crawdaunt, Chocolatue the Cacturn, Chris P the Grumpig, Styx the Sea King, Blubber the Wailord, and Meatball the Walrein. So let's get into it. Starting with the Dark-type trainer, Sydney. He starts with the Mightyena, while we bring out Lobster, who is immune to Mightyena's Intimidate ability. They move first and land a Sand Attack, and we land a Brick Break that leaves them with seemingly 1 HP. They heal and get brought right back to the red by another Brick Break. They then land a crunch, dropping our special defense, and our surf misses. We can't have Lobster taking too much damage, so we switch to Blubber on another crunch. They then land a surf to take down Mightyena. His Cacturn comes in, so we swap to ours on a Cotton Spore that cuts our speed. They land a couple Needle Arms before going down to Strength, and Absol is in. We switch back to Lobster on an Aerial Ace, which doesn't hurt too much, and they use Sword Stance to double their attack, but it goes down to a single Brick Break before they can use it. Sharpedo comes in and uses Swagger to double our attack while confusing us, but Lobster powers through and lands a Brick Break to defeat them. All Sydney has left is a Shiftry, who's able to flinch us with a Fake Out, but then goes down to a Brick Break to win us the first match. Next up is the Ghost Trainer, Phoebe, starting with her Dusclops against Chocolate. We move first and our Feint Attack just misses the KO and we're hit by a Confuse Ray. Phoebe heals Dusclops to full, but Chocolate powers through Confusion to land a critical hit Feint Attack to take them down. Dusclops number 2 is in next, and we swap to Blubber on an Ice Beam, hardly losing any HP. We go for a Toxic, but miss and get hit by a Shadow Ball. Our second Toxic lands, and a second Shadow Ball brings Blubber close to half HP. So we'll swap back to Chocolate 2, who resists Shadow Ball, and we then bring Dusclops into the red with a Feint Attack before getting hit by a Confuse Ray. Dusclops Citrus Berry heals them at the end of the turn, saving them from going down to poison damage, and thinking they're going to heal, we swap back to Blubber, but they get hit by an Ice Beam and gets frozen. Luckily, Phoebe decides to not heal and use Shadow Ball. So after we survive the attack, Dusclops succumbs to the toxic damage, and her first Bayonet comes in. Phoebe has 2 Bayonet that are at the same level but have different movesets. Luckily, neither should be too much of an issue. We swap to Chocolate 2 as Bayonet uses Spite, which fails and confirms which one we're up against. Feint Attack just misses the KO, and we get hit by a Will-O-Wisp to burn us. Another Feint Attack takes them down, and her other Bayonet is in, but goes down to 1 Feint Attack. All Phoebe has left is Sableye, and we can just switch to Lobster to take them down with a couple Surfs to win the fight. The Ice-type trainer Glacia is up next, and she starts with a Glalie while we start with Lobster. We lose about a fourth of our HP to an Ice Beam before one-shotting them with a Brick Break, and her Celio is up next. It also goes down to a Brick Break, and her higher leveled Celio comes in, but also can't survive a Brick Break. Walrein is brought out next, and they outspeed us to land a critical hit Blizzard that leaves Lobster with only 3 HP. We respond with a Rock Tomb for decent damage while dropping their speed, and we switch to Blubber on another Blizzard, this one also being a critical hit. We badly poison them with a Toxic before using Rest to heal ourselves, and hammer away with Earthquakes afterwards. Their Citrus Berry saves them from poison damage killing them, and Glacia heals Walrein with a full restore, only to get badly poisoned again on the same turn. They heal once more, get poisoned once more, and succumb after a few more turns. All Glacia has left is Glalie, but after we badly poison them, we switch to Meatball, who with a single Surf puts them in range for poison damage to KO and win the fight. The fourth member of the Elite Four is Drake, the Dragon Trainer, starting with the Shelgon while we bring out Meatball. Meatball can easily slaughter Drake's team with a single Ice Beam for each of his Pokemon. Shelgon stalls with a couple Protects before going down. His first Flygon sets up a Sandstorm to cause us chip damage at the end of each turn. His Altaria does a little damage with Dragon Breath, and Flygon's number 2, Dragon's Breath, brings us close to half HP and also leaves us paralyzed. But Meatball powers through and lands their Ice Beam for the KO. All Drake has left is Salamence, and their Dragon Claw removes about a half of our remaining HP, and Meatball once again powers through paralysis to annihilate Salamence with an Ice Beam to win the fight. Our final battle is against Champion Steven, who opens with the Skarmory while we bring out Chris P. We immediately use Confuse Ray, causing Skarmory to hit themselves for little damage. Our Shockwave brings them close to half HP before they land a Steel Wing, and our second Shockwave brings them into the red and Chris P gets badly poisoned by a Toxic. Steven heals and we land 2 more Shockwaves before Skarmory uses Spikes, which will damage all of our Pokemon when we switch them in. Poison damage is starting to rack up, and it brings Chris P down to 69 HP. Nice. One more Shockwave takes out Skarmory, and Cradily comes in. Our Citrus Berry activates here, but the poison damage is much greater than the healing we get. We land a Confuse Ray on Cradily, but they power through and land a Sludge Bomb to kill Chris P. We bring out Styx, whose Ice Beam takes out half of their HP, but Cradily powers through Confusion once more to land a Giga Drain for big damage. Our Citrus Berry heals us, allowing us to survive a second Giga Drain, and we use one more Ice Beam, seemingly leaving Cradily with 1 HP, and another Giga Drain kills Styx. Meatball is brought out, and an Ice Beam eliminates Cradily, and Claydol comes in. They survive a Surf with barely any HP and hit us with an Earthquake. They try to heal, but can't do anything before going down to a Surf. Our Maldo is in, but can't survive a single Surf, and the same happens to the incoming Aggron. All Steven has left is his ace Metagross. I expect Metagross to outspeed us, so I plan to use Rest to heal up after being hit, but Meatball is faster. We heal with Rest and wake up with our Chesto Berry, and Metagross goes for a Meteor Mash, but it misses. Surf takes out half their HP, and their Meteor Mash takes out a little less than half of ours. Their Citrus Berry heals them, allowing them to survive another Surf, and their Meteor Mash brings Meatball down to just 19 HP. Steven heals, but with 2 more Surfs, we're able to take out Metagross to win us the fight and the run. Join us next time when we try to beat Pokemon Platinum, only using Pokemon who are objectively garbage. I've been Hextasy, and thanks for watching.